I'm conflicted on making this commentary. Now, on the bright side, I didn't have any gameplay, and I was kind of running out of time for the day, so I was like, okay, I don't really have any time to go get gameplay. And then Infinity Ward posted some more Modern Warfare gameplay on their channel. I used the last bit of it without being copyrighted or anything, so hopefully they don't mind me using this as well. I'll just edit it a bunch so it's not, like, obvious that it's theirs. Either way, well... microtransactions. A lot of people are saying that Modern Warfare looks like a fantastic Call of Duty, but that it's just sad that it's going to be ruined by microtransactions. I wanted to talk about this briefly because I have a lot of opinions about it, but really only two of them clash on a daily basis. So I have two opinions, and you guys have heard them on this channel before. Okay, microtransactions do not ruin games, alright? If you can avoid them, even if they affect gameplay, like you can gamble for a stat change gun, that doesn't ruin the game. The game still plays the same, you're just locked out of bits of content that they keep sprinkling on top of it. I found Black Ops 3 to be a good game before they added microtransactions, but when I think about it more rationally, it's still the same game, it's just full of things I can't have. Now, you might think, well, that's a bad game. Sure, but the maps are the same, the gameplay loop is the same, the controls are the same, the goals are the same, there's just parts of it that I don't get to play with. So, you know, that's bad. Obviously that's bad. When you lock endgame content behind an RNG wall, that's terrible. And I've said this for a while. The endgame in Call of Duty needs to be better, because the best we've seen it, in my opinion, is Infinite Warfare. If you had gotten to max prestige in Infinite Warfare, you would have, A, gotten a gun for every other prestige, a classic weapon from previous Call of Duty games for every other prestige, and then they would have just been piling guns on top of you. If you had the Season Pass, you got the guns directly, I've said this before, and if you didn't have the Season Pass, you had a challenge that you had to complete to get that gun. No purchases or gambling required. The reason IW's microtransactions didn't feel bad was because you had to, you know, do RNG boxes to get variants. And those variants could be good, but a lot of times they were just unique. But the weapons themselves were just given to everybody. Those weapons variants were scattered amongst the supply drops, and you had a decent chance of getting them. So it took a lot of the sting out of that microtransaction system. So even after I was kind of bored with the game, they kept adding things